I'm Cardinal players. A great follow on Twitter X at BigBank90. Michael Bankston now on Rockin' Minuch with Jimmy B on ESPN 620.
Michael, am I going to see you tonight?
So you going out to the stadium?
No, I got that yellow jacket you really haven't earned that you have. Are you're not going to go to the meeting tonight?
So this must be Rock.
Yeah, Rock. Yeah,
yes.
You got it, Banks.
Yes, Banks. Got to put you in your place. Come on now.
Well, I mean, the guy that can't play golf, but you know what? Let's go on with this story. Let's go move forward.
Okay. Why don't you take us back to 1992, because you and I have something in common. We both started at the Cardinals at the same time. 1992 was my first year and only year. So talk about, here you are, fresh out of Sam Houston State. I don't know if you were living in Texas at the time, but talk us through how it all went down to the phone call and whoever else was around you.
Well, hats off to all the guys who's getting ready to be drafted. We were the last time of 12 rounds, as you know, and then went to 7 rounds after that in 1993. So 1992, you went on to the 6th round in the first day. So now you're only going to do the first round. You know, it's a propaganda now, you know, it's a political aspect, and which is nothing wrong with that because they're going to give them the props. For me, I sat there and waited. You always think you're going to go higher than what you can go in a lot of aspects, especially coming out of Sam Houston State, coming from the small school. At that time, it was Division I AA. You have 1A AA. Now you got FC1 and BC1, all those things happening. And now Sam Houston is BC1. Hats off to them. It is a somewhat of a nail biter. Because you just want to get picked by some team. I had no clue about Arizona, to be quite frank. But I was just hoping to get picked by one team, and the rest is history after that. So I know a lot of those guys, and some of those guys are supposed to go in the first round. And, sometimes they get bumped down longer than they should. Some of the people that probably didn't think they're going to go first round, as we've seen in the past, somehow sneak up in the first round because that's what teams need. Hopefully with the Cardinals, we just get, because it's in the middle of Pac 16, that we get something that we need. I'm always going to be on the defensive side because I believe defense is in a championship. I know Allison's got to score points, but at the end of the day, you want them to have the turnovers. You want them to have pressure on the quarterback. You want them to have a tight coverage. You want the linebacker to be able to come downhill, just out the run, and giving you an opportunity to play the short side of the field.
So Banks,
hopefully they draft somebody that's going to be beneficial. That's all you can say.
So when you look at this defensive front seven, you got Calais Campbell's back in the fold. You got Tomlinson. You got him. You got him, and you got Sweat. So you pretty much addressed a lot of your defense. And I agree with you. The defense is doing the championships, but they're pretty much set there, it seems. So you think at number 16, the Cardinals' bigger need would be an offensive line, get the best offensive guard that's out there, or do you still feel that they can still add one more defensive tackle or one more edge rusher?
Well, I mean, I do know, I should say it this way, that they need to protect Kyler Moore. He runs too much, to be quite frank. They need somebody to keep him in the pocket and show up there and where he can go and throw down the field. And you got Marvin Harris, you got Wilson, and there's a possibility try to get another receiver. They re-signed Dortch. Those guys can catch the ball and stretch the field. But at the end of the day, I think when you look at it, either you trade or you try to go up there and get the best player at that time. And it's a possibility it might be an offensive player. There's nothing wrong with an offensive lineman. A great offensive lineman that can protect them, that can come in and start right, left, tackle, or even the guard. It doesn't matter, just as long as they can protect Kyler Murray so he can get the ball down the field. We already know Kyler Murray is going to be the quarterback 2025, so we got to make sure he's protected, and then also give him the necessary weapons so he can get the ball downfield. And with James Conner, they just re-signed him. He's a beast. And there's nothing wrong with getting another defensive player. Don't get it twisted, because as you can see, sometimes the receivers, you can get a guy that's just hungry at the end of the day, and you can get him in the second, third round, and he's still going to be beneficial as long as he's hungry, as long as he can catch the ball.
So you prefer the Cardinals either move up or move down for picks if that particular player is there. Is it the offensive player or defensive player you'd move up or move down for?
I will move up for the defensive player. I will move down for the offensive player because you can get more in the later rounds.
Okay.
If you can get more picks. But if we can get somebody to go up there and clog up the middle, we got Calais now, like you just indicated. We got that's what's coming off the end, but you still need more than that to make sure that the defense is solid. Because we need some cornerbacks too, just to make sure there's tight coverage. Because if you don't have tight coverage, it don't matter how fast the guys are coming off the end, then they'll still be able to throw those quick routes, and those guys will still make 3 or 4 yards play, which is going to end up in the first down. So if we have to move up, I would say either a defensive lineman that can clog, or a cornerback that can cover.
Michael Bankston's our guest on the Right Toyota guest line. Banks, I know that there are a lot of good players in this draft, but it seems other than maybe Travis Hunter, there's not sensational type players. Is this draft lacking in sizzle as far as those great players that we are accustomed to seeing?
Well, when you look at defense, they always talk about it as a duel. They talk about the cornerback, I think it's from Michigan. But then after that, they're talking about receivers and mostly quarterbacks, but that's always the case, mostly quarterbacks. Now, there's only certain teams need that quarterback to come in and start. Everybody else is going to need that quarterback to come in and set maybe for a year or two, and hopefully he develops into that quarterback. But if you want somebody that's going to start on the beginning, you always go defense.
3 minutes.
Just put a hand on the ground as far as defensive lineman. As a linebacker, you got to be willing to hit. Safeties, you just really got to be willing to go downhill and make sure you can guard the tight end coming up the seam. If we can get that done, you got a winning situation. Now, that's all good and said and done, because that's all chalk talk. But you still got to have those players that's going to be hungry to go up there and play the game that they should play and play it to efficiency and make sure we get W's at the end of the day. We got to come up. This year, we got to be that team to at least get in the playoffs. We need all the pieces to get into the playoffs. John Gannon, they got to go up there and set the offense and defense, and also special teams, because you always have 3 phases at the end of the day that's going to be able to win ball games, especially late in games, because everybody's trying to do the same thing, and you got to be able to be that team that win late in the games.
So let me ask you this, Bang. My last question for you is, okay,
2 minutes.
What's happened in the offseason by Monty Ossenfort with this defense, if they don't do any drafting of defensive players per se, maybe they get a corner later on, but those impact players you talk about, is this defense going to stand pat and be ready to go and be improved from last year with what they got as of today without the draft?
Well, they got Akeem as a linebacker. Of course, they got Josh Sweat. Of course, they brought Calais Campbell, and I seen Calais when we was in Miami. He's still, I don't know if it's HBO special on your radio, but he's still big as hell.
Yep.
That's not going to change. So you can clog up the middle, and hopefully we can stop the run. That's one of the things that we had issue with, stopping the run and rushing the passer. If we can't still do that, at the end of the day, it's going to be tough. So I'm always going to advocate that we get the players in position, or the players that we need to rush the passer
1 minute. 1 minute.
and have that tight coverage, and then you win the ball games. You saw what Eagles did. Eagles won with 4 guys
That's right.
put pressure on the quarterback. No blitzes, no nothing, and they were still getting back to Mahomes. That's what you need.
Banks, we always enjoy you taking time for us, so thank you so much today, especially on draft day. And we'll have something to talk about, I'm sure, next week when the Cardinals get all these picks.
Yeah, and like I said, you already know. Hopefully they get the right picks, and hopefully those pieces of the puzzle are put together. And also, you know what? You got those guys that are going to come in free agents. You already know that too. And those guys going to be even more hungry than the guys that got drafted. So you're going to have maybe 1 or 2 of those guys that are going to step up as well and make a difference on that team, whether it's offensive, defense, or special teams. So hats off to those guys. Hopefully they do well. Hopefully we get the right picks, and hopefully we move forward. Hopefully we get in the playoffs this year and, and see what happens next.
All right, Banks, don't work too hard, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Be careful out there.
All right, you too. And good luck to you guys. Always a pleasure talking to you guys. And Rock, don't be disrespecting me in public.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow. Give him hell, Banks. Give him hell.
I've been wanting to talk to you in person because I have a huge opportunity for you, but I don't see you at these meetings, so I don't know when I'm going to be able to talk to you. I need to hook up with the alum. I mean, I got some really big stuff for football season for you, Banks. So, but if you call me out like that, all right, let's see where we're at.
Well, you know I'm the NFLPA president.
Yes, I do.
So let's hook up. Let's make some things happen.
Yeah.
Let's have some fun because that's part of it.
Dollar signs there, Banks.
That
We gotta
talks.
fill the bank with Big Bank 90.
That's
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Rock.
Thank you, Michael. Talk to you soon. That's Michael Bankston joining us
You
here.
guys be blessed.
Okay,
Former Cardinals and Bengals defensive line.
That's our NFLPA president here locally, Rock.
Yeah.
Retired
I guess,
player president.
Well, he's a yellow jacket, so I'm
Yeah.
like, come on, he's a white jam. Like, let's go, dude. I'll see you in a meeting. I'm helping chair this year, like social chairman this year.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's my
You
role.
volunteered for that role, huh?
It's not a volunteer thing. You get asked. And now that my bar is going to be opening here in a 4 or 5 weeks, it's perfect. That's probably why.
Yes.
Probably why let's have Rock.
You are cut out for that job, Rock, Mr. Social
I think
Chairman.
so. Yeah, I did it for 2 years in my fraternity, so I a lot of experience back in the 80s.
The fraternity.
The Memphis Grizzlies head coach, Kawhi Leonard, and Nico Harrison all have something in common. They're all part of today's AI Playful Parodies. It's edited and it's